everyone. Hope you're having a great day today, and thank you for joining me. If not already subscribed and you enjoy what you see today, please consider subscribing so you don't miss on any future videos regarding some tool reviews, updates on my Datsun Roadster project, and also the garage that I built on the side of the house are just some examples of a few videos I have coming. So before I get into the Tekton combination wrench set that I just bought, I want to go over some of the wrench sets that I've been using for 15 years now that have done great for me. I've had no issues, no breaks. I've always used them for what they're intended to. I know we can't always do that, but I've had no issues whatsoever. I've got Pittsburgh Pro, Gear Wrench, Cobalt, and USA made Craftsman. And the biggest issue that I've had with these as I've gotten into restoring a car and building more things is I'm very limited on the sizes that I have, which you can get normally at the big box stores. They consist of, the smallest sizes are usually pretty good, but they only go up so far. And to keep buying those individual wrenches as you go up gets really expensive. And I constantly find myself running out of the tools that I need, and then I have to go to the store, which I live a half-mile away from Lowe's, so that gets pretty dangerous. But then I just have a bunch of random wrenches in my set that my OCD just kind of drives me insane. So I found myself wanting to find a set that I could have all the sizes that I would need for the most part, minus some of the oddball biggest ones that I could possibly need. And also finding a great set with a price that I was okay with, because I don't use combination wrenches that much. They're usually my last resort. If I can get a socket on there, that's always gonna be my first choice, and then combination after that. But like I said, these have all been great for me, and it just finally came to the point where I really needed to upgrade, so I had more of a range of sizes in the SAE and the metric. So behind me, I have the largest set that Tekton currently offers in the combination wrenches. It's the 46-piece set that on the metric side goes from 6mm all the way to 32mm with no skips. And on the SAE side, it goes from 1/4 inch all the way through 1 1/4. Taking a little bit of a closer look at these wrenches, they have an extremely nice chrome finish on them. I have seen a few points on the end of the open ends where I'm assuming when they handled it or held it on the chroming process, that there was a little bit of kind of a drip you can kind of see right there forming. Not something I'm too concerned about. Other than that, the finish is very nice on these wrenches. The logo and sizing of these wrenches are very easy to read, unlike some of the others that I've had. And since they're not acid etched, that's not something that you're going to wear out over time. On the open end, it is a featureless open end like most of the wrenches that I've always had. And your box end is going to be the standard 12-point box end with a 15-degree offset, which is what I've always used. I do have a couple wrenches that are 0-degree offset, but the 15-degree has always been one that has worked best for me. One of the biggest complaints I've seen about these wrenches on other reviews is that they go up in size and then you'll randomly go down in size, and then they'll go back up and back down. And it's not a big problem as far as the usability of the wrenches, but to the eye, it's something that's very annoying. Tekton has seemed to have corrected that a little bit. Instead of going up and down kind of randomly, they have some wrenches that are just identical in size. So you've got the 15 and 16 that are identical, the 17, 18, 19, 20, the 22, 23, the 25, 26, 27, 28, and the 29, 30 and 31, 32. There's a couple on the SAE, there's not as many. There's the 1 1/8 and the 1 3/16 are both identical in size. And then the 11/32 and 5/16 are also identical in size. I really appreciate the fact that they don't go up and down in size anymore. They don't completely go from small to large, but this is much better than what it was before. So after opening up these wrenches and taking a look at them, I was really curious to see what other brand of wrenches are they most similar to, since I had 5 different brands now. So I've got the Tekton here, the Pittsburgh Professional, Cobalt, Craftsman USA, and Gear Wrench. And to be quite honest, if there was no branding at all, I probably would not be able to tell the difference between the Pittsburgh Professional and the Tekton. On the open end, they're almost, there's almost no difference at all that you could tell. They're both featureless. They're both the same thickness. On the box end, the Tekton has a little bit more thickness to it, but it's very minimal. The chroming is a little bit better on the Tekton. And then the major difference that you can tell visually is that the Tekton is just slightly thicker than the Pittsburgh Pro, but both made in Taiwan, both seem to be very similar in quality. I did find something very interesting though when I started to measure the tolerances of both of these. They're not the same when it comes to that, which was something that I was pretty happy to see actually. So I wanted to see if, since these wrenches are so similar, are they just rebranded, or are there some other differences that you can't see with just your eye? So I decided to run a caliper on both of the open ends just to see, what the tolerances were. Both of these are 17 millimeter wrenches. So if we open it up on the open end of the Pittsburgh Professional, we're at 17.18 to 19. So we're 18 hundredths over the 17 millimeter. On the Tekton, when I do that same test, we're 17.17. So not that big of a difference, but it is slightly smaller on the tolerances, and that can be good or bad depending on what you're using it for. For me, when I'm working on the cars that I am, having less tolerance because I'm using all brand new hardware is much better, because I'm much less likely to mar the newer nuts and bolts that I'm installing, versus having something that's a little bit more opened. It's going to be much better for a greasier bolts or bolts that have paint on them. And so, depending on what you're working on, the Pittsburgh might actually be a little bit better than the Tekton because it would be easier to fit on onto the fasteners that you're dealing with. So you might be wondering, if they're almost identical to the Pittsburgh Pro, why wouldn't you just save the money and go buy some Pittsburgh Pro wrenches? And that could be totally true for you. Depending on your application, you may only need the wrench sets that Pittsburgh does sell in their brand. For me, I outgrew the sets that they sell, and here I was able. So this set here is normally priced at $225, which is quite a bit of money. For what you get, it's really not that much. I was able to get it on sale. It was priced at $195 with my 10% back that I had gotten from my socket purchases. I was able to get these out the door. Well, sorry, not out the door, but I was able to pick these up for $157 plus tax, which comes out to just under $3.50 a wrench. And I have almost everything that I could need. Now, if I need something that's a little bit bigger, yeah, I'll run down to the Harbor Freight and pick up a Pittsburgh Pro wrench instead of spending $30 for one wrench. But Pittsburgh does not have a set. Well, really, any of the big box stores do not carry a set that is complete like what Tekton has here. They all have great warranties, and I'm really not worried about breaking any of these. If I do break something, every time I've ordered from Tekton, the stuff is shipped out that day or early the next day, and I get it within 3 days. So if I have to warranty something out, I'm really not too worried because I have other tools that'll get me by in the meantime. So really, is this the best set that you can buy? For me, the answer is yes. I know there are better wrenches out there that you can buy. There are wrenches with nicer features on the ends that you might need for certain applications, but for me, for what I'm using them for, there was no better set that I could buy for the price that the Tekton wrenches are, especially considering it's something that I want to add to my set of tools, but not something that was a huge necessity. And to go out and spend thousands of dollars on combination wrenches that, I mean, you look at these wrenches and there's no moving parts or anything at all. I mean, when we're talking about socket wrenches, sure, there are some with finer teeth and they're worth the extra money. On a combination wrench, I just couldn't justify it for what I'm using for. So that ultimately is why I ended up going with Tekton. One more thing I want to add is how important the no-skip sizes actually is. And the sets that these stores offer, they carry all of the major most common size that you would use, and that's great. But you know, they'll go from 19 to 21 to 24. But if you need a 20, okay, now you got to go back to the store and you have to buy a 20. Well, I actually just out of curiosity looked at Lowe's and I searched just for 20 millimeter combination wrenches. They had none in stock. So then you're waiting, you know, days for one to come in stock, or you're driving around and eventually you're just going to spend a bunch of money just to get one wherever you can find one. And yeah, there's quite a few wrenches in this set that I know that I'm probably never going to use. If I do, it's going to be once. But I know if I ever need them, I do have them now. And 15 years down the road, when I'm still using these wrenches, I will not need to go out to the store because, oh, I don't have a 20 and I finally found a 20 millimeter bolt 15 years later. And that was, for me, the biggest thing in helping to kind of complete my, I guess you can call it master tool set that I'm trying to build with all sizes of sockets, with wrenches, pliers, screwdrivers, everything. And yes, I have a long ways to go. This is the only toolbox I currently have, and it's embarrassingly small. But I actually have one ordered, and it should be here in a couple of weeks, hopefully undamaged. We'll see. It is from a major big box store, so I'll be doing a review on that, and hopefully I'll have things a little bit better organized the next time. And this toolbox has done great for me, but it's about 15 years old, and it's old slides, no ball bearings anywhere, and when you throw all these wrenches in there, it takes quite a bit of effort just to open the drawers. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope if you are thinking about buying these Tekton combination wrenches, it kind of helps to show you, you know, what you can most compare them to, and really whether they're worth it or not. On a per wrench basis, I think you can get wrenches that are very comparable, but when it comes to a complete set of wrenches, and to, you know, have the feeling that you don't need to worry about, you know, finding a fastener that you don't have the right wrench for, outside of something just, you know, very abnormal and stuff. You know, it's something that I'm pretty happy about, and I hope it helps some of you. So if you like this video, like I said at the beginning, you know, I will have some more videos coming up. I do plan on continuing to build this master set that I have, and I will review some tool purchases as I go along, and hopefully you enjoy it. Thanks for watching.